Kingdom! Cheers! A toast to the king!
You elect will drink wine new with Yahweh Shai. You elect. As of right now, we say hopeful elect. You elect of Israel out there will drink wine new with our Lord Yahweh Shai and his going to be the kingdom of heaven here on this planet and earth once Yahweh Shai returns. When our Lord comes back, one of the first things he's going to do is have a toast with his men. He's going to have a toast with his men, those that stood stiffly for his name and his Father's name. Let's read this one more time. Matthew chapter 26, verse 29. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine, which is wine, which is made from grapes, as you know. And our Lord, he loves to drink, man. That's something that our Lord took pleasure in when he was here on this planet Earth. He's not going to do it anymore until he returns to do it with you. Showing just how much he loves his elect, man. He's not even going to drink until he does it again with you. I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. So what a moment that's going to be, man. And you can only imagine the quality of wine that's going to be. Our Lord Yahweh Shai, he has access to different things that we don't even know about, man. Access to different grapes you don't know about. Has an entirely different quality of life that we don't know about. But he's going to reveal it to you. He's going to give it to you when he returns. Now, you have what's called a loyal toast. A loyal toast. I'm going to read this real quick. A loyal toast is a salute given to the sovereign monarch or head of state of the country in which a formal gathering is given. In this case, the sovereign monarch or head of state would be Yahweh Shai. He's our sovereign monarch. He controls everything, man. But guess what? He's also extending that power to you elect. He's going to share that power with you. A loyalty is a salute given to the sovereign monarch or head of state of the country in which a formal gathering is given, or by expatriates of that country, whether or not the particular head of state is present. In this case, the Lord will be present. So you're not going to have someone speaking for him giving a toast. He's going to host the toast. He's going to be there, man. We're living in a time we're going to meet Yahweh Shai. You're going to meet him face to face, which is proof also that we have to be changed. We can't meet the Lord like this. He's going to change you. He's going to crown you, and he's going to toast with you. Read some more. It says, a protocol at state and military occasions and a display of patriotic sentiment at civilian events. The toast is usually initiated and recited by the host, which would be Yahweh Shai, before being repeated by the assembled guests in unison.
To the kingdom! Cheers!
Sometimes when Akim are among each other, we'll do little small toasts. Brothers may be like La Yasharala, holding up cups. But imagine the Lord himself hosting it, man. And we join in. And I was reading something else, and pretty much they said in order to have what they call a loyal toast, you would use wine. That's the beverage of choice. And once again, our Lord, he's coming back, and we're going to see him with all that power, man. But he's going to extend that power to you. Now, reading on a monarch, it says a monarch is a head of state for life or until abdication, in this case for life. And therefore, the head of state of a monarch may exercise the highest authority and power in the state. Or others may wield that power on behalf of the monarch. And that will be you joint heirs. You different men that are going to reign with the Lord, man. Usually a monarch either personally inherits the lawful right to exercise the state's sovereign rights, often referred to as the throne or the crown, or is selected by an established process from a family or cohort eligible to provide the nation's monarch. In this case, the Heavenly Father Yahweh himself selected his son Yahushua. And once again, when our Lord returns, he's going to wield that power to you elect as well. Once again, he's going to change you. He's going to crown you. And he's going to have a toast with you. A kingly toast.
To the kingdom! Cheers! A toast with the king! Raise your glasses, my friends. A toast with the king! A toast with the king! Raise your bonnets, everyone. A toast to a prosperous future! To the king! To our glorious future! To the victors, blow the spoils! Raise your glasses! Cheers! Raise your chalices to the golden age of our kingdom. A toast to the king.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakodash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua. Pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. All right, and another edition, of morning news and prophecy. Okay, and what I wanted to get into, something I spoke on yesterday, and I had a chance to look into it, and I look into, all right, China's, social credit system, and more, and how these things link. All right, to, all right, America, which is Babylon the Great, all right, which we know, all right, dealing with the history of China, okay, that they, were conquered, by the British, okay, so the British government, okay, were like overlords to the Chinese government, okay, so these devils, okay, these Western, all right, Edomites, okay, they always had, a stronghold, okay, or sway, all right, of Chinese politics, okay, which when you go into the history of it, but just to stay on the surface, all right, these devils, they have their hands, okay, in China's, all right, government, all right, in Chinese politics, okay. China is not, operating, as an independent entity, the way that their government is moving. Okay, and this social credit system that we see in China, is nothing but a project, okay, of these elite bankers, okay, and the surveillance state and the social credit system on a whole nother, just a regular, credit system, which even the credit system in America, is a system of behavior modification, because people, make decisions, okay, um, dealing with their, own personal credit score. All right. Well, it modifies their behavior because people's behavior are geared towards trying to have a high credit score, you know. So people will go and take on debt, to raise their credit score. They would apply for credit cards to raise their credit score. Okay. They would, like I say, get loans, okay, in particular things, all right, to try to heighten their credit score. So that's a form of behavior modification. With social credit score, it takes this behavior modification to another level. All right, let's start here with Habakkuk, the second chapter, and then I got some of the chat I want to get into, and then we'll segue to the video dealing with just some insight into China's social credit system. Okay, this is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 1. It says, I will stand upon my watch. Okay, and the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shai has, his men, on their watch. Okay, because it's a spirit, that pure influence, as it speaks about in the book of Wisdom of Solomon, the seventh chapter. How this wisdom is a pure influence from Yahweh Bashim Shai. So the spirit that the Lord has, particular men to stand upon, their watch. Okay, it all comes from the inspiration of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai through the Spirit, the tower. And I will watch to see what he will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved. Okay, so the Lord speaks to us as we're on our watch, through having events happen that tie into prophecy, man. That's the Lord speaking to his watchmen. And the watchmen, take these events, filter through the scriptures and report, okay, to the body what's happening, what's going on. All right. As we look out from the towers, we can see ahead what's happening. All right. We come and report, okay, what's happening, man, so we can know what time we in pertaining to prophecy, man. Okay. Verse 2 says, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Okay, that he may run that readeth it. You see? So our forefathers, they wrote these things down, the visions they were seeing, and they made them as plain as they could, dealing with the technology of their time, dealing with the culture of their time. Okay, that's why, you will have to understand, the customs, Eastern customs, okay, to get a more thorough understanding of the scriptures, because it's written from the perspective of Eastern culture, okay, and dealing with the technology, okay, and the terminology, all right, that was around at that time, so that's why the brothers in Dallas, they're big on it, beginning with Eliasha Wamba, very, so the brothers, well, they're big, when it comes to, okay, them going into Eastern customs, in which when you understand, the customs of the East, our customs, as Israelites, okay, then the Bible begins to open up and make more sense, when you relate it to what's happening today. It says, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run, okay, that readeth it, man. So now we're able to run, okay, with this message, okay, as we see, these visions happening real, that our forefathers had scribed down, the prophets, okay, we're able to see these things play out. All right, the things that they've seen in vision, now they're playing out in reality, man. Okay, John the Revelator, he's seen, all right, human, what they call transhumanism. Okay, he's seen people merging with technology, man. He's seen that. Okay, and he described it, dealing with the charagma, the karaks. Okay, he described it as best as he could. Okay, with the technology of that time. Okay, it said, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak." Okay, and now we're seeing these things speak. Okay, now we're seeing these things be implemented more and more into everyday society. Okay, it says, "And not lie." Okay, because the Most High said, "Well, he's a man that he cannot lie. Have he spoken, and shall he not, make it come to pass?" Okay, and we're witnessing that everything that the scriptures speak about, according to prophecy, is coming to pass real time. All right, there's no denying it. Especially if you're in the spirit. It said, "Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry, man." And these things are speeding up, man. 2025 was a blur, and it's a lot. All right, that this devil has gotten done. Okay, in 2025. This devil has made some leaps and bounds. All right, towards this new world order. You know, in 2025 was like a long month. You see, it's a blur. You see, and going into 2026, there's a lot of speculation. Okay, about more moves being made, man. Okay, but there's a lot of groundwork that has been done for this devil to get ready to roll out this NWO, man. Okay, and it's already, you know, this up and functioning throughout the world. And China is one of the main places. Okay, so let's get this real quick in the chat, because with this devil, it's all about behavior modification. You see, he wants you to be in his image. Okay, he wants you to think a certain way, believe a certain way. Okay, act a certain way. Okay, which is anti-Messiah. You see, so what we're seeing with this devil now, okay, he's getting ready to roll out a system, okay, that goes deeper into behavior modification. All right, because people have already been, behavior has been modified. You look at the way this society is, well, it's the results of Esau's behavior modification. You know, you look at, as one of the biggest complaints, the modern woman, especially the modern nigger woman, well, she's been affected by heavy behavior modification. That's why it's the same behavior across the board for the most part. Okay, because it's a system of behavior modification. Young niggas, they're under a system of behavior, all right, modification. Okay, Christian, that's a system of behavior modification. Okay, so now this devil wants to take behavior modification to a whole nother level. Okay, to where he can be more tedious in how he modifies people behavior, man. Because it's all about control with this devil, man. You see, it's all about more control at this point. Okay, because he has secured all the resources. All the resources flow to this devil. Now it's about control. Okay, you see, he wants to be the Most High. You see, so it says, I said, could a social credit system modify behavior in ways that criminal law can't? Okay, it says yes, a social credit system. Okay, a social credit system could modify behavior in ways that traditional criminal law cannot. But this comes with a significant ethical and political risk. Here's a clear breakdown: how social credit system can influence behavior differently. It can target non-criminal but socially undesirable behavior. Criminal law only regulates actions serious enough to be legally prohibited. A social credit system can reward or penalize behaviors but discourage, such as timely loan repayments, noise complaints, littering, online speech, civic participation. This extends state influence, all right, far beyond crime. Okay, and what would they, just to give an example? Okay, because now, a lot of brothers, a few of you sisters, you don't go to the And see, this is why he has to have this DPI set up so he can really enforce a social credit system score. Okay, so let's just say you have the digital ID. Well, you don't go. Brothers and sisters, they don't go. A lot of us, some do. Neither here or there. We already got the protocol. For how to move in that. But just to make an example, okay, let's say you don't go to, okay, the Christmas thing. You don't go to your family for Christmas and eat. Well, guess what? That's all been picked up on the credit score now because it knows where you at all time. It knows you didn't attend that gathering. You don't attend the Thanksgiving. You don't associate with any church. Okay? See, you can do these things now, but you still have your same access to society. You cannot go to the company Christmas party, all right, but you still have full access to your bank account. You still can go travel. You still can go do this. You can still go move how you want to move. Okay, but in the social credit system, okay, if you, all right, don't participate in these particular things, all right, if you don't vote, if you don't vote, cause of course we don't vote. You see, so if you don't vote, all that counts against your social credit score, and it also goes against what you have access to. Okay, so this is a way that this man is he wants to modify behavior on a whole nother level. You see, it's already, you're frowned upon if you a man in this society. You run your household, your woman is under you, okay? You your hands on with your children, as far as discipline, and you know, you look down upon it. They call it toxic masculinity. See, now they can just call you that on the internet. But in the social credit system, okay, you can be penalized for that. You have traditional views of family. You can be penalized for that. And it's all about the creators of the system, what they consider, to be negative against your score or positive against your score, man. Okay? Which this social credit system, there's no way you can be a man. Even if you not in the truth, but as a man, there is no way a true man, okay, will walk into this, man, and participate in this madness, man. Okay? But just put some examples out there. But let's go and keep reading down. It says this extends state influence, all right, far beyond crime. It says it can act continuously rather than after the fact. Criminal law punishes people only after a crime is committed. A social credit system provides real-time feedback, ongoing incentives and penalties, continuous behavioral monitoring. This can shape day-by-day habits, not just deter major crimes. It uses life consequences, all right, rather than legal sanctions. Instead of jail or fines, a social credit system affects access to loans or housing, traveling privileges, job opportunities, school access, online platform. These consequences don't require a legal conviction, so they can influence behavior, all right, more pervasively. Okay, and he needs a DPI, all right, the digital public infrastructure in place so he can enforce this thing, so he can cut you off, okay, from things immediately. So your score can be going up and down immediately. And a good way to look at it too. I know some of you brothers and sisters will say, "Oh, well, you know, this social credit system," and it shows this little chick, all right, and she's just going crazy to try to get her social credit score up. You know, she's just losing her mind. And then her brother, you see, her brother was chilling her because his brother didn't care about a social credit score. He was just chilling. You see, so it's an episode on Black Mirror called Nosedive. I don't know if you brothers, and sisters have seen it. Okay, but it's Black Mirror is season 3, episode. Okay, yeah, it's season 3, episode 1 on Black Mirror. I don't know if you brothers and sisters into it like that. You know, uh, let's see. Mm, let's go back here. I probably pulled it up. It says going back to the chat. It says it can harness positive reinforcement carrots, not only punishment. Okay, it says criminal law. All right, mostly uses punishment. A social criticism can also offer rewards. Okay, so it can be not only a punishment system, but a reward system. Okay, if a brother can post that, a gift destroys the heart. Okay, and just like now, what people do for likes. People do things that they wouldn't normally do to attempt to go viral. Okay, certain morals and things that they would usually have. Well, for the reward of going viral, okay, of getting likes and getting follows, okay, and being popular on the internet, which is like a reward system. It's like it's like an endorphin hit, for a junkie. It's just like a junkie gets a reward from a high. Okay, he creates these systems of rewards. Okay, for the masses, man. It says rewards. All right, it said faster services, reduced fees, public recognition. You see that? Public recognition. You know, so just like the internet, which that's a form of a social credit score because you're rewarded. All right, when you do things that are popular to the masses. Okay, so when you say particular things that the masses agree with, okay, when you do particular things, okay, there's agreeable to the masses, it's like a reward, you know. So social media itself is like a form of behavior modification. That's why women take particular type of pictures, okay, with the expectation of being rewarded, okay, with praise, okay. They're willing to show more skin, or or just completely wild out for the sake of what? Reward. You see? So even, like I said, Esau's credit score system over here in America and social media is a form of a social credit system. It's just not to the level that's in China, put in place in China right now. Okay, so um, let's go here. It says it can influence behavior that is difficult to legally regulate. You see, the things that they can't legally regulate, like I say, as a man, how you run your household, you're not participating in, the holidays. Okay, you're not going Black Friday shopping. Which uh supposed to stimulate the economy. Okay, your viewpoints, what you speak on the internet. Okay, all these things. So the things that they can't legally regulate according to their law, where they can regulate with a social credit score. Okay, it says some harmful but legal behaviors are impractical or unconstitutional to criminalize, such as spreading misinformation, associating with certain groups. You see that? Minor antisocial conduct. You see that? You see? So you don't go to the jobs Christmas party. Okay, you don't go to your co-workers retirement party. Okay, it's crazy, man. This system would be insane, man. It says risky financial behavior. A social credit system can pressure people to avoid these without passing new laws. All right. So let's go from there. And like I say, this that just to show it real quick. Uh so this the episode I was speaking about, nosedive. Okay, and it shows that, you know, okay. But it's the I say it's episode 3. Okay, no, season 3, episode 1. But it's about this chick here. So you just go into it. It said nosedive is the first episode. God damn, man. It says your nosedive is the first episode in the third series of the British science fiction, all right, anthology, okay, series Black Mirror. Okay, this episode is set in a world where people can rate each other from 1 to 5 stars using their smartphones for every interaction they have, which can impact their socioeconomic status. Okay, their socioeconomic status. Okay, so your nosedive, episode 1, season 3. It'd be a good watch. To kind of get a idea of a social credit score. Okay, so let's go here. Let's segue to the video. All right, it's like a documentary, a day in the life. This man is following. I think he's French. Okay, but he's following his wife. His Chinese wife, and she operates in that social credit system. And he doesn't, so he's kind of on the outside looking in. Okay, so when you go to let's go here, and I'm gonna let it run for the most part, and I hope it don't, because most of the time Moab be tripping about they little documentaries, but Lord would let it play. Let's get this precept real quick that the brother got. This is the brother chosen one are Israelites. It says Ecclesiastes 7:7 says, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. And as we, as we increase in wisdom, and we realize that this system ain't for us, man. This system ain't for men in general, okay? But Israelite, man, this system ain't for damn sure ain't for us, man. And how we're made, okay? As we, learn righteousness and how things should be, okay? And we see the system that we have to, because even now you have to play the game to a degree, in this society, man. Certain things you gotta, just shrug it. You gotta turn the other cheek, with certain instances, man. And that's why, the more you have to operate in this society, the more suppressed you are, as an Israelite man in this truth, man. That's why, as little as possible, man, I try to deal, with this society, because you just have to suppress yourself so much. You really can't, just be, and it's frustrating, right? And it says, and a gift destroyeth the heart, and the gift destroyeth the heart, a reward. Okay, and this devil rewards you and destroys your morals. That's why people lose themselves in this society. They get blinded by, little perks and gifts. Okay, and they begin to lose themselves. All right, and that's how this system is set up, to where, These rewards are supposed to destroy your mind, corrupt your mind, to modify your mind to his likeness of the beast, man. Okay? So let's play this. All right, fair use, fair use, fair use. All right, I'm not getting any monetary gains or profit. It's for educational purpose only, educational purposes only. Fair use, fair use. Okay, so this is like a day in the life of this little Chinese chick on the social credit system. Okay.
早安，如此美好的周末。今天是6月20。
Morning.
You're filming all the time.
What time is it?
Don't know.
Let's have a look at your points. How many have you got?
The same. It doesn't change every day.
How many do you want?
Don't know. I'm not at the maximum.
Is that possible?
I don't know.
What are we going to do today?
Go shopping.
My name's Sebastien, and I'm French. Lulu is my wife, and she's Chinese. We live in Beijing. Let's film ourselves for a year. Is that okay with you?
Don't I get a private life?
We don't have one anyway.
Shut up.
Shutting up in China is more than a habit. It's a survival technique. I don't think there are any spy cameras in my own home, but there are plenty of reasons to be paranoid.
Have you got the keys?
No, you take them. Welcome to our apartment in North Beijing, outside the 4th Orbital Road. This is where I live with Lulu. I've been a journalist in China since 2007. We live an ordinary life as a married couple, except for one detail. We're never really alone. On our landing or in the lift, they're everywhere. China has at least one surveillance camera for every 2 inhabitants. Electronic eyes which are always watching us. Today, Lulu wants to show me the City Council's latest idea. Is that what you wanted to show me? That screen?
If you cross when the light's red, either in a car or walking, you get displayed on the screen.
And what's the point of that?
To show everyone you broke the rules. Maybe later on you'll lose points.
We won't cross on red then. The cars don't care though.
Yes, it's for everyone. They'll be displayed as well. It's not just for the pedestrians, it's for everyone. You see that girl crossing?
What do you think of this system?
It's to make people follow the rules, to stop them doing stupid things.
All right, and she's simple as she want to be, and the shame, element of shame that they use. They put you on the screen, real time. You do something that's socially unacceptable amongst these cameras, they can put you on the screen, blow you up on the screen real time. So it's an element of shame, that can be factored in. Okay, and see, they have the infrastructure to do this. You know, these cameras everywhere, these screens everywhere, digital ID system. They have the infrastructure to implement a social credit score. You know, and that system is being built out in America, man. You know, and people are already conditioned. Okay, as I say, through social media. Okay, you know, through likes and follow. You know, I mean, dislikes and you know, canceling people, complaining about. So people are already conditioned for this over here in America, man. It's just the infrastructure is being set up to enforce it, you know. So let's play some more. But yeah, she's simple as she want to be.
But it's a bit like being treated like children.
23 million children in Beijing, 1.4 billion in China as a whole. Children, like my wife, earn or lose points, are punished or rewarded, depending on their behavior. An entire population under surveillance. Cameras in the street, mobile phone apps, insurance files, police records, bank statements, medical records. In China, all the data are instantly digitized. Smart cities, which supposedly use 5G and big data to improve citizens' lives, are in fact huge surveillance networks. Taking the metro, buying food, buying a book. All these everyday acts are archived by the great digital harvester. The harvesting is done by the regime, which collates all the data to build a digital portrait of each citizen. All the Chinese now have a digital double, which lives its life in Beijing's computer servers. A double which is marked, appraised, and judged by the party's computers.
He said everyone has a digital double, you know? So you're going to be judged and ranked off your digital you. Okay? That's why a digital ID is a step in the direction of them creating a digital you. Okay? And that's what you're going to be judged on. That's going to control your access. That's going to determine your access to, okay, society. Okay? It's going to be based off your digital you, your digital double. You know?
To the citizens, it's like a game or a loyalty program. Their loyalty earns them points. Bad marks damage their credit. Such is my wife's day-to-day. Lulu and her fellow citizens are faced with this overseer judging every hour, every second of their lives. My wife isn't a journalist. She works in marketing. To make sense of the impact this technological and social revolution has had on her life, I decided to film her daily routine.
The day's just beginning, and you can't live without a phone. It's already begun. I have to order a car.
Hello.
More than anywhere else in the world, in China, life is impossible without a mobile phone. The country has over 1 billion subscribers. And nothing escapes the apps that Lulu's installed on her smartphone. What do you see on the app? His name, the number of trips.
You see his name, his car, the make, the color, the number plate, the number of trips he's made, how long he's had his license. You see everything.
So far, so ordinary. Except that here, the entire journey is filmed and recorded by the little camera over the rear view mirror. The rest is exactly like the system we've all come to know. We give the driver a mark, the same for us. In China.
And when he says a mark, he's speaking of a rating. So the thing is now, if you're a Uber driver over here in America, okay, or ride share, whatever, Lyft or whatever, well, you get a rating, but their rating is only for their app. Okay, well, in China, they have everything interconnected. So when you're rated as a driver or a passenger, that goes into your overall social credit score. It doesn't just stay on the app. See everything you do, and that's why Palantir, they're so vital in building out the infrastructure to connect everything on one database, to where what you do on Uber, okay, what you do on rideshare, whether the driver or the passenger, that would affect your overall social credit. Okay, as an Amazon delivery driver, well, your rating, all right, will affect your overall social credit score. It wouldn't just be confined to that app, because you can have, 2 stars on Uber as a driver or a rider, okay, but you still have access to everything that everyone else has access to, okay? But if in China with this social credit system, how you're rated as a driver, okay, and as a passenger, that's all linked to your overall social credit score, and that limits to what you, all right, have access to, what you don't or do have access to, man. Okay, it's a nightmare system of behavior modification.
Marking has become the norm, as it has across the planet. You hand out points for every online order, every train journey or flight you take. And you do so with your thumb on social media. Evaluations which establish a person's popularity or a company's reliability. But on Planet China, all these interactions, all these likes, become so much data, all of which is cross-referenced and locked away in a digital safe to which the government has the key. Activity on social media, but also purchases, travel, and conversations. Private lives stored in a code installed by each Chinese citizen on his or her mobile phone. The COVID-19 epidemic gave the government the chance to add this extra tool to its already substantial data harvesting apparatus. The QR code. Its official objective? To track people's movements and contacts in order to fight the spread of the virus. QR codes are used everywhere. Going to the hairdressers.
Use your phone to scan.
Oh, I have to scan?
The one in the middle.
With WeChat?
Shopping, going to the restaurant. Every building we enter, every person we come into contact with, the QR code knows everything we've done. In China, this snitch is installed inside the very applications without which life is impossible.
And you see the C19 was a springboard, for them to put these in place under the guise of public health and safety, So don't be surprised if there's another event, okay? So these devils can, all right, roll out, more things, okay, towards this digital public infrastructure. Okay, but C19 was a springboard, for them to make changes over here in America, okay, and for them to forward, all right, China, okay, with this social credit system. You see? So don't be surprised if there's another event, that happens soon, all right, that they can use as a springboard, all right, to implement, okay, more of this digital system, man. Okay, under the guise of national security or, or public health,
Alipay, a payment app comparable to Apple Pay, and developed by Alibaba, Amazon's Taobao Lulu's favorite online shopping site. And not forgetting the group Tencent, the developer of WeChat, the Swiss Army knife of the digital world with which you can chat, pay, and scan a go-go. A sort of multitasking WhatsApp. All these apps put out there by the Chinese tech giants are gobbling up personal data, which directly feeds the party's ever-vigilant surveillance system. I go to meet data analyst Feng Xiuan in a very trendy neighborhood of Beijing. He confirms that the pandemic did indeed accelerate the data harvesting system, doing so directly by means of the apps installed on mobile phones.
Let's compare the health code system to a cake. At first, the engineers and inventors of the tech companies, such as Alibaba and Tencent, came up with the recipe for the cake, and they showed this to the government. Only government departments have the right to request the personal data stored, for example, by airlines, railway, or telephone companies, data which they can use under certain conditions. This is how the government sources the ingredients for the cake. But in order to mix the ingredients together and bake the cake, only the tech companies have the capacity to do this. The government isn't a baker. Next, we can see that the government has the right to ask online payment platforms for details of transactions, also under certain conditions. The question is how to find a balance between protecting personal data and what the government is permitted to do. This is something the whole world is arguing about right now.
But it's not a new debate. Already in the late 1980s, as China was opening up to a market economy, it started to use data to control the people.
Now, what he's going to go into now is the history, when China started to become westernized. They opened themselves up, to Western politics. They began to send their children to, American colleges. Okay. They began to accept, democracy and capitalism. Okay. That's when you start to see a lot of American manufacturing, began to be moved to China. All right. Because China was, agreed upon by the elites to be the sweatshop of the world. Okay. Because of they could avoid, the taxes of America. They can avoid the unions of America. They can avoid, the labor laws, okay, of America, which I got another lesson I want to do. I looked into the devil Ronald Reagan, in which, Trump is pretty much running the same game, the same system that Ronald Reagan did, but Ronald Reagan, he empowered, these corporations, to do what we're seeing them do today. He took a lot of regulations off the same time. Okay, China, would begin to enjoy the perks, that came with investments, into these Western markets. Okay, the consumerism of Western markets. Okay, as you can see, the Kentucky Fried Chicken. In China, you're gonna see a McDonald's. Okay, so you're going to see in this little segment here, okay, to where China is being turned out by the whore. I believe that's we can get a few precepts and prophecy. Let's get Jeremiah. I think is it 51:7. Just go ahead and get a few precepts before we get into it. So you got Jeremiah 50, I think it's 51:7. And we'll get a few in Revelation. So let's get Jeremiah, 51:7. Okay. And then let's get Revelation, I believe it's chapter 17. I'm going to get Revelation 19 and 2. And then let's get Revelation 17. 17 and 2. Revelation 17 and 2. And Revelation Revelation 18 and 3. Baba Kashah. Well, let's play this segment.
The country was waking up to fried chicken, Ferraris, and money. Lots of money. But that faint tune of freedom was soon muted by the party. Mao's grandchildren wouldn't be any freer. They'd just be rich. In exchange for access to consumer goods, nothing about the lives of the Chinese could henceforth be kept secret from the party. Beijing would regulate the flow of money in its own way, controlling consumption and thereby the citizens. My wife Lulu is a child of the great consumerism boom.
And you can see, that these people, all right, like you look at this little woman, she has the mind of a Western woman, to just, walk around and consume. Okay. And she's occupied with some social credit score. She has done nothing that a traditional woman does all day. Okay. And just walk around and enjoy the conveniences of this technology. Okay. And her behavior is modified, all right, in a way that's pleasing, okay, to the powers to be. Okay. So this is what, these devils, this is the system they want to set up to reinforce, all right, this rebellion, okay, that we see in the earth. Okay. Like you say, and it don't take that long, 2 or 3 generations, and Esau can have you. Okay. You look at America, the things that, was taboo and unacceptable a generation and a half ago. Well, these things are culture now. Okay. So this devil, all right, he has all of these nations behaving like the West. And now there's a system set in place that rewards you for behaving, like the West. Okay. Going back to the Maccabees when, the Greeks was in power and Jake wanted to be conformed to the Greeks. Brother can post that as well. I think the first Maccabees 1 and 11. Yeah, first Maccabees 1 and 11. So this is brother Yashima, tribe of Judah. Revelation 19 and 2, it says, for true and righteous are his judgments, for he have judged the great whore, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and have avenged the blood at her hand, which is America. Okay, so America is guilty of corrupting the earth, being this great whore, that has went around and influenced the earth in wickedness, man. Okay, to where you see, especially these big cities, Beijing is more westernized, okay, than the West. Okay, the West got to catch up to Beijing now. You see? And this is the way of the beast, is to get people to behave in a way that's not traditional to the standards of the scriptures. Okay? Well, he wants everyone in complete rebellion. You see? But there's a judgment that this place is going to be judged. Okay. Another one on Psalm 73 and 20. Bible Shah. Psalm 73 and 20. Let's get that as well. All right. Let's let it play some more.
And of the mobile phone. She's one of those Chinese who buy, spend, plan holidays, and dream of retiring to the sun. Ever since the People's Court of Commerce started selling off the revolution, her generation has been enjoying the boom. It was this hunger to consume that brought about the Chinese financial credit system in the 1980s. But first of all, Beijing wanted to understand the strange mechanics of the market economy and familiarize itself with the notion of credit. Xin Dai, a law professor at Beijing's Tsinghua University, the most prestigious university in the country, explains how this happened. As in the old cliche, China just went ahead and copied what we do best in the West. The ancestor of Chinese social credit was made in the USA.
Yeah. The story when is some senior official paid a visit to the US, right? And then so
he's finna tell you where they got this social credit system from. Okay, when one of their delegates went to America, when one of these Chinese senior officials went to America, he's gonna show you, he's gonna tell you how he came up. He came back to China and came up with the social credit system. It was based on the system that was set up in America, man. And you see, old boy said his wife, she just, works, consume, plan trips, and hopes to retire in the sunset. That's the American dream. Okay? You see? Well, they just took it to China. All right? And China, being, ahead of the curve with the digital system. And see, China is supposed to be looked at as the example of the utopia. It's supposed to be looked at as the example of the utopia that nations can enjoy if they comply. Okay? But he's finna go into where they got that system from, the social credit system in China. Where did it come from? Okay? And then I think too, bro, that First Maccabees might be verse 12 when it said these wicked men went out of Jerusalem, Bible Shah. But let's play this some more.
The story when is some senior official paid a visit to the US, right? And then so apparently he was trying to find out, okay, look, why supposedly there weren't as many frauds in the US markets as compared with China's, right? So what's really the difference? So one difference he apparently realized, or at least somebody told him, or he discovered, was that U.S. has something called credit system, right? So credit reporting, credit rating, right? So because if you committed fraud, once or in one transaction, and that would become recorded into your credit profile, credit record, and then if you have that negative entry, that might actually make it very hard for you to get into future transactions or be trusted as a trustworthy business counterparty in the future.
So, this senior Chinese official, okay, he's seen that America had a credit score system, which deterred fraud, okay, within Americans, credit system, So this Chinese official, he brought that system back. And see, you best believe that it's more to the story because the elites, okay, they're invested into China, so the elites also, okay, had a part to play in establishing this system, okay, but the credit score system in America is of social credit scoring, man. You see, it just isn't as tedious as over in China, not yet. Okay, because just based on your social credit score, I mean your credit score in America, you're punished or you're rewarded. Okay, and like I say, you're punished in America for not participating in the credit system if you don't have any debt. Okay, well you have a low score. Okay, to show you that what it goes back to behavior modification. So this system, okay, was this social credit system is nothing but an evolved system of the credit score system in America, man. You know, showing it's all interconnected.
The party saw in these financial regulation mechanisms the potential for a much more all-encompassing system of control. What if one could establish a score based on the solvency and habits of the consumer? Thus was born the idea of social credit, marking citizens on their purchasing behavior. A system of good and bad marks to achieve the ideal of a harmoniously integrated society. A program spelled out in the 5-year plan and revealed to the public by the Chinese government in this document in 2014. The social credit system is an important element of the socialist market economy system and of the social governance system. Encouragements for loyalty and constraints for untrustworthiness are used as rewards and punishments. The accelerated construction of a social credit system is an important basis for the total implementation of the concept of technological development and the establishment of a harmonious socialist society. A system in which information about your finances is cross-referenced with your civic behavior. Marks are given, creating a new social order with first, second, third, and fourth-class citizens.
The idea is if you accrue points, the more points you have, you might use these points to have some sort of like preferential access to certain kind of public services. For example, you might go to the public hospitals without paying a deposit when you see a doctor. You might be able to go to certain public parks without paying entrance fee. You might be able to get discount fares when you use public transportation, all these kind of things. Also, I think in Suzhou, there are some stuff like you can just go to public libraries and borrow books without paying a deposit because your score might be good. But mostly are these kind of things at this point, right? So, really, how important are they, or how trivial are they, right, at this point?
And my wife in all this? Does Lulu have enough credit in the eyes of the government? She's a model student anyway. Her counter is up by 5 points. 5 points that she's no doubt earned thanks to her good consumer habits, her civic sense, and her respect for the rules. Shindai does an analysis.
We see here that you can do lots of things. With your current mark, you could stay in these hotels without having to pay a deposit. You can get reductions on travel, and this is very interesting. Visas for Canada, Argentina, and Latvia.
So you're a child, okay, given permission to do things. Okay, what hotels you can stay in, okay, where you can travel to, what you qualify to travel to, okay. So it's a system to just keep you, all right, as a big child, all right. This is all it does, man. You see? So this is the system that this man wants to roll out globally, man. Okay, and for the simple, okay, this is something great. If a brother can post it, Let's go here. Let's get this. And the Lord's against this system, man. All right, this is chosen one of Israelites. Well, if a brother can get that in Proverbs 22:3, Bible shot. It said, "This song dream when one awaketh. So, O Lord, when thou awakest, thou shalt despise their image." Okay, and this is the system that this devil wants to make global. Okay, when people, okay, get to see him, this is the type of system that you're going to be linked to. This is the system that he's going to tell you that's going to save the day. Okay, to where you're constantly monitored, your behavior is scored. Okay, and it determines your access. Okay, and see, China, they're not in the full, you see, because he has to show, okay, this utopia. Okay, it's gonna get way more dystopian than what we see now. Okay, everywhere, you see, because the money gonna be programmable. Okay, there ain't gonna be no saving. You know, the money gonna have expiration on it. Okay, it's gonna be geo-fenced where it work in certain, okay, locations. You see, but yeah, so according to your social credit score, he's going through the things that she's allowed to do. Okay, so she has to be given permission as a child. Same way you give your child permission, to watch TV, to go outside, based off their behavior. Well, the government wants to do you like that on a whole nother scale. Okay, so let's let it play some more.
This doesn't mean you can just get a visa from the Canadian Embassy without supplying certain documents. But as you're at a certain level, there are some documents you won't have to bother with. It doesn't mean a good mark will get you a visa all by itself. Of course it won't. But it can be helpful and will be recognized by some embassies.
For Lulu, it's the promise of travel with less hassle, thanks to the good mark displayed on her app.
So she has a good score?
She does.
Did you know all that?
No, there are things I didn't know.
Not as scary as we thought.
It's not scary at all.
Okay, Lulu doesn't share my fears about this 100% digital world. This society in which no one can hide, where everything you do is recorded, analyzed, and interpreted, where your mobile phone can turn you into a good or bad citizen.
It's not sticking properly, but
simple as she can be, she has all the mannerisms of, the modern American woman. Okay, all the mannerisms. This is far different. If you were to see her great grandmother, and the skill set that she had as a woman. Okay, but now, all right, people are only being conditioned to forward this man's system. Everyone, is being conditioned to forward his system. You're not being conditioned to forward, okay, family, morals, okay, integrity. Okay, you're being conditioned just to forward his system through labor and consumerism. Okay, but you can tell this woman has all the makings of the modern American woman. Okay, self-absorbed. All right, she don't even know if she got a good score or not. She just floating around enjoying the convenience of society. Okay, you can tell she's not serious about anything. Okay, just carefree as hell. Okay, and this is what this system breeds.
Doesn't it bother you at all that you can be kept under surveillance via your phone? Everything is monitored.
I haven't done anything wrong. So if someone's interested, they can do whatever they want.
Do you like living with that, or would you like to refuse?
Why would I refuse? Anyway, you can't.
So what if you could?
I wouldn't. It's so practical. It makes life much easier.
There's a lot of people that's going to have this same sentiment, man. You know, it's a lot of people. And this is worshiping the beast. This is what it means to worship the beast. Okay? She doesn't see no other way outside of just floating around and enjoying the conveniences, okay, of this system that's set up. You know, tap and pay, walk out and pay, you know, just kick it. You see, just kick it forever. Okay? This is the mind of someone that worships the beast. Where there's a lot of people, okay, that's in this mindset. All right. Let's go here. Going back to let's go here to First Maccabees 1:11. This is brother Yashima, tribe of Judah. In those days went there out, okay, of Israel wicked men, okay, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. And this time it was the Greeks. For since we departed, all right, from them, all right, we have had much sorrow. You know, so the more that you conform, okay, in the society, the more the perks you get. And Jake was like that then. Jake wanted to conform to the Greeks because they wanted to be, you know, in those networks, okay, with the Greeks. You know, they wanted the perks, okay, that came with being in favor of the Greeks. Just like now, people want the perks, okay, that comes with being in favor with this system. You know, and the Lord is getting ready to destroy this system, man. You know, the Lord hates this system that this devil has set up, man. Okay, oh Lord, when thou awakest, thou shalt despise their image, man. The Lord hates this system, man. Because in this same system, all right, you still have XEX trafficking, pedos, you still have alphabet, you still have all this wickedness that's accepted. Okay, you still have all this, you know, this atheism and all these things that's against Yahweh Bashim al-Shah, or cultural norms in this society. You know, but people look at the technology, people worship this technology so much they don't see nothing wrong with it. This society is perfectly fine because of the convenience. They think convenience justifies, all right, the wickedness of this society, man, and it doesn't. Okay, and then this technology strips you away, okay, from being a natural human, man. Because see, this is just the beginning. You see, he's gonna take this thing to a whole nother level. Okay, he's gonna require even more, but we're seeing it gradually. You know, someone like her can't wait to be joined completely to a machine. She can't wait for transhumanism. Okay, her and many others. All right, that's why brother can get that in 2nd Esdras 5:1. 2nd Esdras chapter 5 verses 1 and 2. Okay, but this is what Esau has spread throughout the earth. Okay, going back here, this is the brother Yashima, tribe of Judah. Jeremiah 51:7 says, Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. Okay? The nations, all right, have drunk enough of wine, therefore the nations are mad, man. And he had the nation drunk off of this, man, of the ways of the West. Okay? This is what the nations are drunk off of, man. This, America has passed this cup around the whole earth. Okay, and these nations are under the influence of the West, man. Okay, that's why I say even the mannerisms of the people are like people of the West. You see? So let's go back and play some more. All right.
You can't do without it.
Do you like living with that, or would you like to refuse?
Why would I refuse? Anyway, you can't.
So what if you could?
I wouldn't. It's so practical, it makes life much easier. You can't do without it.
The companies behind WeChat and Alipay know everything about you. Are you more afraid of them or of the state that's tracking you?
I wouldn't say afraid, but sometimes it's a bit worrying. Like you might make a stupid joke, and if it touches on politics, then you might get someone calling you up to tell you off.
Phone or not, it makes no difference to the way you live?
No, I haven't changed the way I live.
The question really is, are we going to basically dial all back to the day where we don't have smartphones, we don't have video cameras, we don't have whatnot, right? Or maybe this is the way we go. So the equilibrium always changes, and we understand. Okay, look, all this information surveillance, they bring us something that we think is good, which for example, greater safety, greater security, greater efficiency, which actually people would have desired if on the condition that some other core values we don't lose or we'll be able to deal with them.
Do the people actually have a choice? Is there an alternative by the regime? After all, as Lulu says,
It's so practical.
the logic of global surveillance accompanies the changes in Chinese society driven by technological advancement. This can be seen with the disappearance of an item which first appeared in China in the 11th century, the banknote. Gradually in Beijing, banknotes, which are by nature anonymous, are being replaced by contactless payment, which is easily traceable by the regime. The irony is that with each note that disappears from circulation, Mao's face is erased a little more from people's everyday lives. It's amazing to think that well into the 2010s, I had to pay cash for everything, and that my foreign credit cards were hardly accepted anywhere.
And the life of Chinese people has changed, since they are at their fingertips.
Today, state television is even selling the society to foreigners.
Go and buy breakfast on the street and pay by
A world in which everything is so much easier, as long as you don't mind the party knowing everything about you.
Purchase your ticket. Why is Thomas from Germany celebrating with so much enthusiasm? Like many foreigners in China, he is enjoying the convenience of a life without cash. So pervasive is the trend that robbers would be hard-pressed to find any cash to steal from in a modern Chinese store. This is a glimpse into the life of most Chinese.
But an even more advanced piece of technology now makes an entrance in our lives.
So, what do you want?
Water's fine.
Now watch this. It's on another level, man.
Just water? Like this?
Yep,
That one or this one?
the top one.
That's a lot more expensive. So, oh, you pay by sharing your face.
Yeah, his face.
Done.
So you paid for a bottle of water thanks to facial recognition. Do you know how it recognized you? Don't you wonder how you're able to pay with your face?
It asks you here, you can choose to pay with your face or QR code.
How does it recognize your face?
It's recorded. When you subscribe to Alipay, it scans your face. It's recorded in the paying system.
What do you think about that? Do you like it? It's freaky, isn't it?
No, it's just funny. It's amusing.
Yeah, poor Lulu. You know, she don't know what's going on. But the rest of this documentary is I put it here. You know, so it's like another 30 minutes, I believe, close to 30 minutes. You know, so you brothers want to tap into that, and that was from the perspective of someone that has a good social credit score. You know, so Lord will I try to find someone, all right, a day in the life of somebody that has a bad, you know, social credit score, you know, and see what that's like, you know. Well, let's play this. Let's read this. Like this, the brother chosen one of Israelites, 2 Ezra 5:1. Nevertheless, as coming the tokens, behold, the day shall come that they which dwell upon earth shall be taken in great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden, all right, and the land shall be barren of faith, you know. And there's a lot of people, you know, that's going to be taken to death. And there's a lot of people that's going to bend the knee to this system, you know, and a lot of people are going to walk into this system smiling, just, you know, thinking that it's some upgrade, you know, thinking that, you know, they're going to go in worshiping this technology, you know, the lying wonders. You know, she thinks this is so amazing that she's able to pay by her face. You know, and her husband trying to tell you, like, how do they know? Like, she missing the point. You know, he trying to get her to see, like, you don't think you can pay by your face? You know, like, how do these people know that that's your face? You see, picture on the app, she went straight over her head. Okay, just what, like a lot of people, you know, especially a lot of women, it's just, you know, this is gonna be the best thing ever for them. You know, there's just more technology where they can be just more carefree. You see, so it says, and be barren of faith, but iniquity shall be increased above that which now thou seest, or that thou hast heard long ago. You know, so the earth gonna be barren of faith, all right, because the Lord, you know, is gonna remove this word, and all you're gonna have is this devil's narrative about what's next. You know, you see, because people, all right, are being conditioned to trust in the science. You know, you see, when the juice came out, no one was talking about a revival. Nigga didn't do nothing. Nigga didn't, you know, nigga didn't call for no revival, no prayer, no nothing. They trusted the science. You know, everybody went straight to trusting the science, the masses, man. Okay, so people are already groomed and conditioned to trust in this man's science and his technology. Okay, in crisis. Okay, so the earth is going to be barren of faith, and everyone, the majority of the people are going to trust the science, man. You know, and it's gonna get way worse, okay, than what we see now. You see, he's going to cause major civil unrest, you know, to establish the things that he wants to establish, you know, because to get society where he needs them to be, okay, he has to bring about certain crises, man. Okay, to get people to accept this on mass scale. Okay, and you see, you know, China is the model. Okay, So you go to 2nd Ezra 15:46, it says, "And thou, Asia, that thou partake of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person." Okay. You see, mainly China has become what? An extension, okay, of Babylon, because the glory of Esau, Edom, is a digital system. He wants a digital system, a surveillance state. Okay. That's this devil's glory. This is what he's boasting in. All right. And China is becoming a mirror, okay, of the ambition of the devils, these Edomites, what they want for everyone. It said, "Thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and had decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee," man. You know, because even you go into history, you know, Edom and Moab, you know, will have particular alliances, even going back, you know, being allied against us. Okay. But you see that, you know, ever since the 80s, you know, China has been heavily in bed with the whore. Okay. And you see that, you know, Chinese society, you know, is a society that's pleasing to the West. This is what the West wants for everybody. Okay. So the society that China has, a digital system, okay, where, you know, cash is being obsolete, people are being surveilled, okay, people are worshiping this technology, well, that's pleasing to the West. Okay. Then it says, verse 48 says, "Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions." You see, all these devices and the technology that China has, this is all Western technology. Okay. The elites invested into China. That's why China is at where it's at. Okay. They put all this manufacturing in China, so China has this capacity to create and produce as much as they do. Okay, the elite set up this economical infrastructure, okay, in China for China to thrive. Okay, and they, you know, sent China this tech, okay, to implement it within their society, man. You know, as a model for the rest of the world. It says, "I will send plagues upon them, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, pestilence, to waste our houses with destruction and death," man. So China gonna get jacked up too. You know, in this third world war, you know, China ain't gonna be a desert. You know, it ain't gonna be desolate like America, but it's gonna get jacked up too. You know, the Lord gonna judge, you know, Moab too. You know, for being a conspirator. You see, with the West, man, and this rebellion against Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay, so these are, you know, the times we're in. You know, as we look to China, all right, like I say, China is the model of what these devils want to do globally. Okay, and even like I say, with China, they want to take it farther. All right, and China is prepped, all right, to be implanted. You see, all they will have to do is make it mandatory, and most of China's citizens will be implanted. Okay, because they're already, you know, worshiping the image of the beast. And if you worship the image, you're going to take the mark. Okay, so yeah, just another step closer, because it all, you know, leads to the MOTB system. Okay, being the system, this global system. Okay, that the elites, okay, want to govern with. You know, so that was a point. Just wanted to get into that. You know, Lord will, you know, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us young brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the whole Philip. Shalom.